everybody, it's Adam Kitt and Noel Fielding, the KF Home Sales team, coming to you today with another very important video. We're super excited to be progressing along with our company and our team, and we want to talk to you today about something extraordinarily important to us, and we hope that it's also important to you.
It came to us, recently that we had, over the years, serviced so many people that fell into the seniors and retirees situations, and we never really put it together that we were on the cusp of really being service-oriented for that community and making sure that they were getting all the things they needed. So I decided to investigate into the seniors real estate specialist designation and certification through the California Association and the National Association of Realtors.
That's awesome. Yeah, and this designation provides us not only a foundation of education, but provides us with the certification and the backing of the people to say, hey, these people have taken the time to educate themselves and they can really service these retirees at a much higher level than people that haven't gone through the training. Right?
It's a wonderful certification, and I think we often take it for granted that we know things, and then when you get the education, you're like, wow, okay, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a wealth of information and knowledge out there, and some serious professionals that have taken the time to learn and then to teach us so that we can also provide a better service for our clients.
And that's what we want to be. We obviously we can and still do help people from all walks of life, but we want to take some time further and advance our company and our services and just be the best we could be. So
yeah, listen, quite frankly, if you know us individually, seniors in our lives have been huge in both the rearing and upbringing in our lives, and we have so much to give back to the older generations, and so needless to say, we really have a soft spot where it comes to the retirees. So
well, yeah. So I moved back to the Fresno area for the sole purpose of caring and helping with my senior parents, and I'm so glad I did. And Adam himself is running a multi-generational house with a retired or semi-retired mother-in-law.
Fully retired?
Yeah, retired mother-in-law and children still in the house.
Yep.
Sandwich generation.
Hey, so speaking of that, let's get right into it. We're gonna treat this kind of like an interview process. I'm gonna ask Noel some questions and let him tell you all about it. So, understanding the generations, we would say is pretty important, because there are lots of retirees that were born in different times in the past, right? And so what can you tell us about the differences in the generational gaps and things like that?
Fundamentally, we're talking about the silent generation, the baby boomers, Gen Xers. There's some other generations in the mix, the millennials, Gen Ys, but a lot of them are less inclined to be in retirement mode, although they might be taking care of a retiree. And so it is important to understand their language and what their concerns are, especially if they are taking care of a retiree, a senior.
Perfect. So you mentioned the several generations there, the silent generation.
Yeah.
Is that like before the Bob Hope, or between Bob Hope and baby boomers?
You would call them the Bob Hope generation.
Okay.
I think that's slang for that.
Sure.
The reality is these are World War IIers.
Okay.
And they've gotten to the point where most of them, there's a small percentage of them left, and a lot of them are in assisted living or living in a multi-generational house and having a lot of care and aid from family. So It depends on that family structure and what that looks like.
Gotcha. And of course, they all fathered the baby boom generation,
right?
Which was called the boom generation, right? Because there's tons of them, right?
Well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And that generation, as a generation of baby boomers, they're understanding that they feel like they can do anything. They've been through so much. They've seen so much change in our world during their lifetime. It's an interesting generation to deal with and to help. And a lot of them are still looking at retirement in different ways. So we're looking at a lot of generations now that are considering retirement, not this like the silent generation had. They were able to retire, and it was it. And now we're having a lot of people that are looking at phased retirements and gradual retirements. I, for one, am considering retirement as a Gen Xer. I'm going to be looking at working as long as I possibly can.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I have no retirement plan whatsoever. Work. So listen, with that understanding, that knowledge about the varying generations, how do we address their needs?
I think most importantly what you're talking about is when we're talking about a housing situation. And that's where you're going to refer us, right? And it's important that you understand that we have a understanding of those generations and what their needs may or may not be and how we're going to go about that. And so part of that answer is really going to be making sure we've addressed the family and all the decision makers' needs and concerns, and we are taking all that into consideration. So it's really important to interview properly. We've had an experience when we first teamed up years ago. We had a retiree, and he was ready to list his house and invited us over, and everything went like gangbusters. And I think we weren't versed well enough in understanding and making sure we checked. Were there other people involved in that decision-making process? And ultimately there were, and we were able to interview a second time and then go back and get all those people. But they were concerned that a lot had happened without them being involved. So that's the best practice for sure.
And it's the worst feeling in the world of having even utter the words elder abuse, because we never have any intention of hurting anybody. But if people are ever felt like they're taken advantage of, right, which is kind of what some of his children were kind of feeling at that time. So we were able to smooth things over and work everything out, but it was definitely a lesson for us to learn.
You bet. You bet. Great lesson.
Yep.
So making sure that we're interviewing all the people involved and making sure everything's been addressed has been something that we got naturally better at, but understanding that and that this generation's concerns might be a little bit different than that generation's concerns. Right. And it depends on, are they in the no-go years, the slow-go years, or the go-go years?
The what?
Yeah. So that's the interesting thing.
So it's super helpful to understand that even though they may be lumped into a generation, right, and labeled with this generation, their individual needs are going to vary. Is that correct?
They're not necessarily the same,
right?
So you can have a Gen Xer that's feeling the need to retire and feeling like they're very slow go because of health or other kinds of conditions that you may not see at the very surface.
Slow go years, how would you define that?
I think these are people that are still want to do stuff. They're up and active, but they tend to keep it closer to their community, closer to their family, closer to things that are readily available to them, as opposed to a go-goer who's still looking at adventuring and wants to go see the world, and they're maybe going to take on new hobbies and go new places and
so they're able to retire, not necessarily be tied down to a full-time job. So they're able to get out and see the world,
and they still have the ability to do that.
Yeah, that's great. And in the no-go years, people in the silent generation, maybe they're
more often than not. Yeah.
More often than not. Gotcha. Or due to health reasons, or whatever, right?
Could be health reasons, but
so it's super important for us to understand exactly where they're at right now, in their life, what their needs are.
And that's all in that interview process and making sure we've got everything and understanding them. And I think the most important thing for us and for you, if you're considering meeting with us and talking to us about referring clients or us referring people that we're meeting that are still aging in place, able to stay in their home. Most of these people that are moving sometimes they're downsizing, sometimes they're moving in with family, sometimes they just want to be in that slow go situation where they're closer to their friends and family and loved ones. So those differences can occur very easily, and you don't want to miss any of that.
Fantastic. So we mentioned, the interview or the consultation process. We already kind of talked a little bit about making sure that all people that are pertinent to the decision-making process, or if their input is needed, we want to include everybody, right? Whether it be siblings or their children,
Right.
spouses, obviously. Anybody else? Should we include anybody else?
I mean, listen, whoever they think is important.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And that's going to be part of the question. And we've always learned that when you're interviewing, the next question is there anything else? Is there anyone else?
Yep.
And we want to keep doing that until we make sure we've done that. And listen, if it involves us sitting in a Zoom meeting with children or family members that can't be present, but they're out of the area and they do have a vested interest, obviously, in their seniors' decisions and how they're going to progress. Even if they're considering moving away from our area, they're not moving in with someone here, they're moving out of our area to be closer to siblings or children that are outside of the area. We've got the means to do that with technology and also being members of the CRMLS.
Okay, so we have all this knowledge. We've been able to conduct a really good consultation, and what are the things that, aside from our knowledge and our certification process, what else do we bring to the table? So Noel just mentioned the CRMLS, which stands for California Regional Multiple Listing Service. So we're members of the Fresno Association, which has our own local MLS. The California Regional one is open to much broader part of California, and so that enables us to have access to a much broader area of the listings.
The amount of data we have access to, whether it be in San Luis Obispo or in Los Angeles, it goes so much broader, and we can help find more homes that are more suitable in those areas. Or if you are selling in one of those areas, we can get the listing, get you marketed, get you sold, even though you're not in our backyard, and bring you into your family's neighborhood or your friend's neighborhood right here in town.
Absolutely.
So either way, whether it's moving you out of the area or moving you into the area and selling, whatever that is, we're facilitated to do that. That's just one of the really key features, and that's just help people on both sides of the transaction.
Yep.
But when you're getting into town, or if you're going out of town, we're going to help research the types of people you'll want to have at your disposal: handyman, electrician, plumbers. Where's the Rotary Club? Where, right?
Yep.
Exercise, meeting clubs, and we're obviously we have a big network of people like that here in town. But we're not too afraid to get our hands dirty and do that heavy lifting for you and make your transition out of the area better.
We've always prided ourselves in having a vetted list of people that we can recommend. And we take pride in that, because when we recommend somebody and they do an excellent job, it elevates our reputation and our opinion, your opinion of us. And vice versa, if they don't do a good job, it brings us down. So it's really important to us to have really strong, reliable people that we can recommend, from handymen to movers. We're continuing to add elder law attorneys that specialize in elder law, contractors, handymen, electricians, like all the things that Noel said. So
cleaning people.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, packers and movers, and
we have some
companies.
Healthcare professionals and people that will come in, help do the grocery shopping, and help clean up a little bit and do some things and make life a little bit easier.
Yep.
My mom's assistant, I guess, Jeanette, she does a great job. She does some grocery shopping for mom and all that stuff. So it's really nice to have the ability to facilitate that stuff.
Absolutely. So that's about it for us today on our new designation of Senior Real Estate Specialist, SRES. And we're super excited and thrilled to be able to elevate our service for you.
Let us know if there's someone we can help you help.
Absolutely. That's it for now. Take care, guys.
Bye.